What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Call of Duty Black Ops 4 on BlackTideTV. In the video today, to follow up the incredibly popular Hellion Salvo episode, another Camouflage challenge guide, this time the combat knife. Now before we get into this topic, is the gameplay good? God no. Is your gameplay going to be good? God no. If you are hoping to unlock gold, diamond, dark matter camouflage for this weapon and other weapons in Call of Duty Black Ops 4, you'll have to be willing to sacrifice your kill-death ratio, your win-loss ratio, your score per minute, basically any of the statistics that might matter to you. Yeah, those are going down the drain because you are about to be the most miserable player in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. If we're all being honest, the combat knife has absolutely no place in this game. At least in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Infinite Warfare, our melee weapons had potential because we had so many movement options to close the gap on ranged enemies. Unfortunately, this is no longer the case in Call of Duty Black Ops 4, as the only air quotes advanced movement at your disposal is the knee or power slide. And before we go any further, I'd like to clear the air on the effectiveness of that tactic. There are two melee animations for the combat knife in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. The lunging commando pro melee and the close range non-aim assisted melee, the slice across the body. The first of which, the lunging commando pro melee, takes place when you are sprinting around the map, you find an enemy, center him in your screen, and when you're within range, hit the melee button. You will lunge towards that enemy, aim assist will take over, and it's pretty much impossible to miss that enemy at this point. You are pulled towards them from a considerable distance. This is the most effective tactic with the knife and why I always prefer to be sprinting at all times with the knife. You always want to keep moving, you want to be moving towards your enemy when you hit the melee button. Because the second non-aim assisted melee, the slice across the body, happens in almost every other situation. If you are jumping, if you are sliding, if you are sitting still, your character will take the knife and slice it very closely across their chest. No aim assist will take over, and you will miss almost 100% of the time. It is incredibly difficult to melee an enemy with this second melee animation. And of course, when you slide on your knees towards an enemy, this is the animation that takes over. So sliding towards enemies will not allow you to lunge then after with the combat knife, and they will likely just shoot you in the face and you will die. So knee sliding, not incredibly effective unless you're using it as a little bonus to get a little closer to an enemy before you start sprinting again and meleeing them. So there you have it. There are two different melee animations and one is much more effective than the other. I don't know why they have these two different animations. I think the combat knife is already at such a disadvantage, it should always lunge and lock on to enemies, but unfortunately that's just not the case. Now in terms of unlocking camouflage patterns for the combat knife, you'll likely want to use a permanent unlock token for the knife at a later prestige and use it from level 5 when you can first create a class. Given that it unlocks at level 55, you simply won't have enough time to complete all of the camouflage patterns between the levels of 55 and 55 plus when you activate prestige. I've already made a full video on what you should be using your prestige unlock tokens for, and that video is linked in the description down below, so check that one out. So once you have your combat knife unlocked at rank 5 and you're equipping it to your create a class, you'll want to make a class specifically for the combat knife. No primary. If you ever plan to complete the combat knife challenges, you'll need to commit yourself to the combat knife for roughly 15 levels. I'm level 21. I started with the combat knife this prestige at level 5, and prior to this commentary just unlocked gold camouflage. So that isn't too terrible as long as you are dedicating yourself to this weapon and its challenges. You'll want to load your class down with as many perks as you possibly can. Lightweight is absolutely essential. It's going to increase your speed when you are sprinting, which may or may not help. To be perfectly honest, I've had more than one occasion where I've struggled to catch up to Usain Bolt with an LMG. So I don't know, but you should probably use it. Dead silence is also absolutely essential. You will never be able to sneak up on someone in this game. As it turns out, Black Ops 4 players are like the sweatiest Call of Duty players that have ever lived. They're jump shotting you when you're running up with a friggin' knife. So they're going to turn on your ass, they're going to hear you, they're going to use acoustic sensor. I would also recommend that you use Ghost because they're going to be UAV whores all over the map. So those perks are definitely very, very helpful. Dexterity would also be helpful if you are one of those players that wants to slide into a room and then start sprinting and meleeing enemies. But again, remember that the slide doesn't necessarily work. Engineer, Tac Mask, and Cold-Blooded are all also incredibly useful perks in their own right and could be worthwhile based on your playstyle. Another recommendation I could make is using the equipment charge in your gear slot alongside certain specialist abilities like Ruin's Grapple Hook or Seraph's Tac Deploy. These will get you into the combat zone a little quicker where you can start meleeing enemies. Now, camouflage challenges for the combat knife in Call of Duty Black Ops 4 are the same as they've ever been in the Call of Duty franchise, most of which you'll complete naturally while using the weapon. 200 kills to unlock Red Tiger and the later technical camouflage challenges, which consist of 10 Backstabber medals, stabbing an enemy in the back with the combat knife, 5 Survivor medals, killing an enemy while you are at low health, basically run full tilt towards enemies and hope that you kill them before they kill you, 5 Revenge medals, killing the enemy that most recently killed you, 5 Bloodthirsties using only the combat knife, easily the most miserable challenge in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I would recommend Team Deathmatch or Kill Confirmed. I've tried Domination at Hardpoint, they are just way too sweaty, people will be jump shotting and just turning on you left and right. Team Deathmatch is kind of where all the noobs go, and you'll have a much easier time there. When you get up to a 3-4 kill streak, probably hide behind a corner and wait for someone to approach you, and that's all I can really tell you apart from the other tips I've given in this video. The final challenge requires backfire medals, killing an enemy with their own weapon after killing them with the combat knife. Most players will return for that revenge kill. They'll expect you to have a combat knife and you can hose them down with their own weapon. You can also do this challenge on the same enemy 5 times in a single life, and that will complete the challenge very quickly if that player is extremely bad. It's pretty easy to finish this challenge this year, given that all of the specialists have their own unique look, and you can very easily identify which character you killed and which character you need to kill again to finish the challenge. But that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. There isn't a lot I can tell you about the combat knife, other than the little tips and tricks I've given throughout the video. It's pretty much just use it and suffer through it, and you'll feel better when you're done, I hope. But that is going to conclude the video, guys. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Check out my links in the description, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.